So, this is an attempted insert as a sort of podcast for spiritual finance, which relates to the galaxies that are like significant in size and the energy surrounding and massive, and in an endless sense they stretch on. So, with that sort of scope to begin with, then narrowing in on the Earth, being able to like deconstruct the energy on the Earth in more of a, I don't know, it's a smaller, it's within the galaxy, if you will, or the greater wider scope. So therefore acknowledging the energy within and the pathways and the motion of that is a lot different. Smaller, I guess you could say, than the wider energies. So with that in mind, it's an attempt to familiarize to all of humanity into patterns that hopefully then relate to finance, in essence, based on those patterns and the science of humans being predictable in that way, that there's prediction within the markets that has to do with human behavior, and as a result, being able to widen the scope to be able to look at the overall picture of macro, trends, to be able to look at things in a scientific way, to then be able to just acknowledge how the next turn will occur, and the fundamental habits of the market, but also the energy that has to do with like widening the focus on certain trends, which are called circles, that has to do with acknowledging the purpose of the trend to begin with and how that energy is related to the overall pool of other similar businesses within that same category of the type of businesses, so that there's trends within a certain category, like also known as an industry sometimes, but also it could be more niche than that. Like the pool can be something unique that entails a certain data set that is made into a unique industry known as a niche, which can be made up based on differing businesses that are within the pool that make it a unique pool that speaks to philanthropy at the back end, because it's trying to fix and help a greater cause, and that can change the market and the product at the same time based on the people that it's communicating to and who it's trying to help. And then it also creates a pool of other similar businesses within that similar niche, if you will. And with that in mind, it's about speaking to the things that humans need in terms of like science, almost like, and trying to use the data to just inform the potential for future progress in given directions, and then using pools to the advantage of someone trying to acknowledge market movement, to be able to understand a greater connection to markets based on humanity, because humanity is like the underpinning focus in terms of what all people need ultimately. And there's a basic undertone to everything when it's just basic, when it's made basic, as opposed to complex, because humanity and basic needs are in essence sort of more easy to understand, and as a result trying to simplify everything is ideal, just based on using the universe that surrounds us and that macro concept to be able to narrow in on our world that actually is pretty finite, just with a finite number of people, all that have significant similarities. And with that in mind, just analyzing each pool is doing like a therapy, not a therapy, but a mental analysis. It's like an analysis of the mentality, in other words, of the pool, of the type of people, of the direction, of interests, of inclinations within that pool, and the humanity is what's being acknowledged and understood, and that comes from a basic internal sense that comes from all humans that in a weird inverse sense, reflects on the universe that surrounds us also, because the universe is within all people, so there's this infinite sense that's within all people also, and there's that and that understanding also creates like a concept of being able to have more acknowledgement of the type of reflections, reviews, responses, and experiences that people encounter or gain, if you will, from different businesses, and those can, I guess, be collected into different pools that are also called niches, and that is sort of a basic concept or outline of how to conceptually basically factor in the universe into the instance of market analysis and market unfolding in essence for around the world, for not only making businesses but acknowledging and tracking the process of growth and forward sort of motion. All right, thanks, bye.